how are you? So I thought I'd come on and do a video for you about our food. Now you might have just seen my short that I did recently, and it was just a quick snapshot. The fact that I had just run this challenge for 7 days called Unprocess Your Plate, and I wanted to dig in a little bit more because we are very aware, aren't we, of how many calories that we should have, how much protein we should have, where we think our protein should be coming from, that we have those rules. But it was very apparent to me that we don't really know what we're eating. Like, how often do we look beyond the calories and the protein? Like, our brains have been trained into knowing how many calories are in everything, knowing how much protein is in everything. Like, everybody's talking about protein. But what about all the other ingredients? And just because something is in that lower calorie band that you might be looking for, and it might hit your protein goal, is it actually something that you should be eating? Or is it actually something that's very processed, and maybe you need to not eat so much of that and go look for your protein and calories elsewhere? So this isn't about judging or being unkind or saying you're doing it wrong. This is purely about going and finding out. So that everything that I do is always try, have a go, try, eat this food, see how you feel. Does it make you feel energized? Does it make you feel sleepy? You know, try this kind of movement. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Don't do things because someone's told you you've got to, or your best friend tells you that it's the best thing in the world. Do the thing because it works for you. And it's super important when it comes to food. We all know that our favourite foods are completely different from our friends and families and people that we watch on the internet. And you can't make yourself love a food that you don't love. But the food that we're eating needs to really nourish our bodies. And that comes in two parts. So, of course, there's all the nutrients that the food is made from, and that nourishes our body, and that's really important. But we also have to love what we're eating. And this is why I want you to try, I want you to experiment, I want you to look and truly understand what you're eating, so that your food is a part of your joy of the day. I don't want you to be sitting eating meals that are bland and boring and, you know, hit that protein goal, but actually do not bring you joy. We are very lucky in this day and age. We have a wealth of choice, and we want to make the best choice we can to make our body work in the best way. But also, that's just lovely. There's nothing better than sitting down with someone that you love and eating a really good meal, rather than, like I just said, something bland that you're just eating because it hits that goal, but it doesn't bring you any joy. Like, life's too short for that. So during our challenge for 7 days, we started the first few days just observing, just noticing what we were doing, really looking at the ingredients. And we use this like traffic light system. And it's really important to me that we don't get into the good food or bad food, because I don't actually believe that. I think all food is just food. But some food is whole food as nature intended it. So we gave that a green light. Then some food has a minimal amount of process. So things like cheese, things like, you know, if you're making sourdough bread, that goes through a process, but the ingredients are very small. So that kind of thing we were giving a yellow light to. And then you've got your really processed things. So like the fake meats if you're plant-based, or like pies that you can buy, or burgers or fish fingers or takeaway food, all of that stuff. But also there's a whole wealth of things that are also highly processed that we think we're eating because they're healthy, and maybe they're healthier than something that you may have chosen last month or last year. So you're on that track of moving into the food that nourishes your body better. And there is a process. We don't want to charge from this point to that point. We do need to find this bit in the middle, but we do that by awareness. So as I say, at the beginning of our challenge, we started with just being aware, finding out what we were actually doing. And then once we understood where our mind was and what we were actually thinking, and did that match with what we were eating, then we were able to go on and start tweaking where we needed to or where we wanted to. So it's really, really interesting. The ladies in the group, the majority of them, their first comment after the first 2 days was, I have actually never really looked at the ingredients. that is probably the same for the majority of us, because we kind of are told all of this information, so we are just being guided without actually checking. I think something that's really interesting that I first kind of brought my mind to this was cereals. I don't really eat cereals these days. You may love a cereal, but a lot of cereals are fortified with vitamins. And it wasn't until I started digging deeper into these subjects a few years ago that I realised that what they do is they take the cereal, they strip it of any goodness that might occur naturally, and then they put those vitamins and minerals in it. That's why it's fortified. So they've taken everything out, put it through a big process, and then put it back in. So I guess if you were not getting any nourishment at all, it would give you some, but it's really not a good quality. There's better things that we can do. So things like having a bowl of oats and then adding in fruits and berries and yogurt if you're a yogurt eater, that kind of thing. You can kind of make the meal up. And there's no exact pathway for this. This is what I want to share. My biggest thing, I think, with you is that you have to go work it out for yourself. I cannot tell you what to do, and I don't want to tell you what to do. I want you to go find out for yourself. So I want you to start looking at those labels. So a rough guide is, if there's something in the ingredients that you actually don't understand what it is, probably don't eat it. If the ingredients has 4 or more, say 5 if you're starting out, so 4 or 5 ingredients. If it's more than that, you probably don't want to be eating it. If you can get it down to like the whole thing, like a vegetable, a potato, a salad item, a piece of fruit. If you eat meat, like a chicken breast, as soon as you hit the processing part, then they start putting other things in. But it's really, really interesting. Yogurt is a really interesting one. So if you're eating a good quality yogurt, like a Greek yogurt or the Sky, you know the one I mean. If you look on the ingredients, it's yogurt, nothing else. If you look at some of the other yogurts, then they are starting to put extra things in. They put colourings in. There's all sorts of weird and wonderful things in them. So you want to kind of avoid those and go for the good quality ones if you can. And all of this is done with kindness. Remember that if you start tomorrow, say you've watched this video, you start tomorrow, okay, I'm gonna use this traffic light system just for the next couple of days, see what I'm eating, understand how much of my food is processed, how many green lights do I get. Don't feel that you have to change everything at once. You can just tweak tiny. The tiniest of change will help you. And once you start doing a tiny change, then it will grow, and you might want to make 2 little tweaks, 3 little tweaks, and so on. But don't be in a rush to change everything. The last thing I want you to do is to, bin all the food in your cupboards and start all over again. So how do we start? How do we get going? Keep a food diary. That's the best way. Either on a piece of paper, on your phone, whatever works for you. And just keep a record. I did it in my notes, so that at the end of every day, I just looked at what I ate, and then I just literally put the coloured dots so that I could see by the end of the week if I had a majority of red or a majority of green or yellow, or what the breakdown was. And then I was able to look and see, okay, this is not great, and what I found was, because I was running the challenge and I was doing the challenge with the ladies in the group, it actually helped me make decisions. And I was travelling at the time, and I'd already said to myself, oh, why did I say I was going to do this with them? This is going to be really tricky for me because I'm travelling. And actually that's not true. That's just a story that I was telling myself. So I was able to get rid of that. And then I was able to go through. And some days I was thinking, oh, do you know what? I might have that. And then I was like, actually, I'm on this group. Maybe I'll choose something that's a little bit healthier so I can get a red or so I can get a yellow or a green dot. That's the accountability part. Being in the group, doing it together, knowing that someone is watching you. The accountability of that helps us make better changes or better choices, or the small steps, the actions that we want to take to get us to where we're going. And if you can start reducing the processed food in your diet, if you can get rid of those red lights and keep it mainly whole food with a little bit of a little processed, you will automatically, without trying, be cutting your calories down, which means that you'll be in a calorie deficit, which means that you'll lose weight. You might not even be trying, but that is going to be the byproduct of looking at what you're eating. So there's lots of benefits. So what I would say is, if you are interested in this, then absolutely give it a go. Take a couple of days, look at what you're eating, give yourself that traffic light system, and then start changing little things. And maybe just change the breakfast to start with. Just tweak your breakfast, see how you go. And when you start changing, carry on keeping that food diary or the notes in your phone or however you want to do it, and notice how you feel. Because when you start getting rid of the unprocessed, that's when you start getting rid of the processed food and start doing this whole food, you'll find that your body starts to function better because you're taking in more fibre, you'll have more energy, you'll feel more nourished, you won't want to snack because you're going to be fuller, because your protein will be good and it will be matched with the fibre and the other nutrients. So it is all a win-win situation. So I highly encourage you to go have a look, see what you're eating, understand what you're eating, and if you're not sure, reach out, come find me over on Instagram. All the information is in the show notes here. Have a look. If you want to come talk to me, I love chatting. I'm quite happy to help you. It's a really interesting process and I wish you good luck with it.